Yo, what is up? Welcome new players. Today's video is specifically directed to all the new players trying out the game for the first time. Specifically players logging in from the Steam client. The game obviously just launched on Steam recently, and this is especially for you players out there that are new to this game. And in this video I'm going to recommend 3 tanks for you to begin on your What World of Tanks journey. Before I try to convince you to listen to me, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have been playing this game since 2012. I have collected over 266 tanks in my garage. I have every tank that I ever wanted in this game. But I am missing a few premium tanks. Eventually I will get that. I will get those tanks. But generally speaking, I have technically quote-unquote finished the game. I have all the tanks that I want. The reason why I'm making this video is so that you guys will be able to save a lot of time. You don't have to grind out the tank lines and then realize halfway it's not what you're looking for. And that's the reason why I'm making this video, making it a little bit easier for you guys to pick out the tanks that it's going to be easy and fun for you guys to play with. Okay, when you go out picking a tank line to grind and collect, you have to consider these performance metrics. The first is, of course, the gun, which is really important. How good does the gun aim? How long does it take to aim? It is an important performance metric. The second thing you need to consider is the armor of the tank. Armor is a big performance metric in this game. It is important in this game. The third performance metric you need to consider when you pick out a tank is the mobility of the tank that you want. Mobility. I need to write and talk at the same time, so this is a little bit of a challenge. Mobility means how agile or how fast and slow is a tank, how quick is it to respond to your commands. These things are very important. The next thing you also want to consider is vision. What is vision? Vision means the view range of the particular tank that you want to play. The view range decides how far you can see into the field, how far you can look towards your enemy. So this is an important metric that you need to consider as well. The last is stealth. Stealth is the camouflage value of every tank. And this is an important metric to consider when you pick out a tank as well, which is why the first tank that I'm going to recommend is going to come from the Soviet tech tree. Why the Soviet tech tree? Because the Soviet tech tree is going to provide tanks that have a good balance of gun, armor, mobility, vision, and stealth. So the first tank that I would recommend you try to get in this game is this line from the Soviet heavy tank line. You're going to go straight down and then go straight up to this tank, the Object 277. The Object 277 is a heavy tank. This should be your first choice. Now if you look at the tech tree, you can see I have every tank in this line collected. That means I have grind past it and I have even kept it That's how good these tanks are. Now, when you're playing tier 1, 2, 3, 4, these tanks are just very regular tanks, nothing too special. But starting from tier 5, the KV1 in tier 5, KV1S tier 6, the IS tier 7, IS 3 in tier 8, these are all heavy tanks. They are pretty slow, but they have relatively good armor, and they have a good punching gun. And then tier 10, in tier 9, the T10 is a legendary tier 9 tank that is very competitive even against tier 10 tanks. And the Object 277 is a heavy tank with a good all-round, it's got good mobility for a heavy tank. It's quite fast, quite agile. It's got great armor, very trollish. You can bounce stuff. The gun is pretty strong. The vision and the stealth in heavy tanks aren't very good, but you have very good gun, very good armor, and relatively good mobility. This should be your first choice tank in this game, the Object 277 heavy tank. Go up this line and then take a left, ignore the 257 and the IS-7, go for the T10 and then the last tank, Object 277. Now, with all the goodies available to you nowadays, with like the researchable stuff, all the boosters that you get, you also get blueprints to speed up your grind. These are all very useful stuff. It will get you researching these tanks in absolutely no time. So that should be your first tank, the Object 277. What is the second tank that I would recommend for you in World of Tanks? You could go straight to the Object 277 and hard grind down this line, but if you want something different instead of heavy tanks, I'm going to recommend you go down the medium tank line, and also in the Soviet tech tree, research the medium tank line, go down this road and go for the Object 430U. This should be your tank number 2. This is a medium tank but has heavy tank characteristics. So this tank, you're going to have even more vision and stealth than the Object 277, but it still has amazing gun, amazing armor, and amazing mobility. So the Object 277 has less vision and stealth, but if you go for the Object 430U, the medium tank, you're going to get a balance of everything you see here. Gun, armor, mobility, view range, and stealth. So this is a fantastic second tank. Why am I recommending it as a second tank? That's because being a medium tank, it has slightly less armor than a 277, and if you are a new tank, if you're new to this game, you want a little bit more armor, which is why I prefer new players to go for an Object 277. It has a little bit more armor, it will survive longer, and which means it is more forgiving. Now again, if you look at my tank number 2 choice, on this line, I have decided to keep everything that I have researched as well. The Tier 5 T34, the Tier 6 T3485, Tier 7 T43, the Tier 8 T44, the Tier 9 430U, 430 and the Tier 10 430U. I have kept every tank in this line. I don't have the BT7 here that you see in Tier 5. That's because this tank was just added into the game recently to bridge the gap right here between here and here. This BT7 was put here just recently, which is the only reason why I don't have it in my collection. So yep, that is tank number 2. And the last tank that I want to recommend for you is also from the Soviet line. Why is all the tanks from the Soviet line? Well, this is a Soviet game. So Soviet game means Soviet tanks have the best RNG. It's going to be biased towards Soviet tanks. Now, it doesn't mean all the Soviet tanks are going to be the best in the game, but yes, Soviet tanks are going to slightly outperform other tanks. It's understandable. This tank is a Russian-made game, so it makes sense that the protagonist in this game is going to be Russian tanks. Tank number 3 is no other than the Object 140, also a medium tank, but this time this tank has less armor than the Object 430U and less armor than the Object 277, which is a heavy tank. Again, going through all the medium tank lines, I have also kept the tier 9 T54. This is a very strong tank in tier 9. And lastly, the Object 140 in tier 10, I have also kept it. I'm going to recommend all 3 tanks from the Soviet tech tree because these 3 tanks are going to be a very fulfilling for you to grind through. Starting from tier 5, you're going to have fun all the way until you get your tier 10 tank. All these tanks that you grind through from tier 5, tier 6, tier 7, tier 8, tier 9, tier 10, none of them are weak. In fact, none of them are balanced. All of them are leaning towards a little bit better than balanced. They are a little bit more powerful than other tanks in the same tier. So if you are new to this game, remember, stick to Soviet tanks for your first 3 tanks at the very least, and then once you've mastered all these tanks in these 3 lines, that's when you start going out to other nations like the German nation or Americans or the British, but start your journey with the Soviet line. You are not going to regret it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you took something useful from this video. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.